In the news tonight, teachers strike justified and legal. Salaries cannot be deducted or withheld.
These are vacuous conclusions, and that is why the decision has to be appealed.
For the first time, the court would have determined authoritatively that there exists a right to strike in Guyana.
And Rupununi man in police custody over the killing of Venezuelan national. Justice Sandil Kisoon today ruled that the teachers' 28-day strike action was legal and legitimate. He also ruled that wages and salaries for those striking teachers cannot be deducted or withheld. The judge also found that the government of Guyana acted unlawfully and arbitrarily when it decided to discontinue deducting union dues from the salaries of teachers for the Guyana Teachers Union. During the ruling, the judge pointed out, based on the evidence before the court, that the union followed all the procedures and even wrote letters to the authorities to no avail. According to the judge, teachers lifted their voices for bread and were given stones. Attorney General Anand Nandalal has signaled government's intention to appeal the matter.
What the judge has found is that you have a right to strike, and in doing so he has misread the Constitution. He has equated the term freedom with right, but he has not addressed the other repercussions, because now you will have striking workers who are going to be compensated for work not done. What you have done there is that you have turned the law upside down, because the monies that you are going to be paid with for exercising this alleged right which you now have is the monies of the employer. The employer has money, means property in law. Money includes property. The employer has a right to protection of his property, and you can't deprive him of his property unless he gets some value for it. So here it is that you have a worker now who will not work but must be paid. So in satisfying one constitutional right, according to the judge, what he has in effect done, whether consciously or unconsciously, he has deprived and denied the constitutional right of another. The voluntary service of the government to offer or to act as an agent for the collection of union dues is not grounded in law. It is not grounded in contract. The judge made a leap and situated it under the Constitution. He says that is an integral part of freedom to associate and freedom to be part of a trade union. By what stretch of the imagination would the government voluntarily deciding to deduct union dues from workers' salary and paying it to a union, how does that affect your right to form a union? These are vacuous conclusions, and that is why the decision has to be appealed.
Senior Counsel Roysdale Ford described the ruling as both significant and historic.
You would have seen the erudition that the judge would have displayed in delivering this decision. It is a marathon decision delivered, I believe, running just under 4 hours. The court, in its decision, was able to answer the questions which would have been asked by Mr. Wade, representing the Teachers Union, and on my behalf, representing the Trade Unions Congress, which is whether in all the circumstances of the case and the law that currently exists, whether there was a right to strike as enshrined in the Constitution of Guyana. For the first time, the court would have determined authoritatively that there exists a right to strike in Guyana. The court would have examined the previous decisions, the Muhammad Ali case, the Collymore case, and a plethora of cases and authorities from around the world. The court would have been able to rely on decisions from the CCJ, which pointed out the importance and role of the inclusion of international conventions in Guyana under Article 154A of the Constitution and Article 39 of the Constitution. After engaging in such an in-depth analysis, the court concluded, as I said, that there exists a right to strike in Guyana. On the basis of that right to strike, the court engaged in an analysis as to whether in the circumstances of this particular case, the strike was justified and legal, and what would have been the consequences of it being justified and legal. The court found that the strike was justified and legal, and in the circumstances of this case, having regard to the evidence which would have been adduced the cross-examination which would have been brought before the court, the affidavits available, that having regard to those circumstances, that there would be no basis upon which the government could be entitled to deny or ensure that the deduction of wages for the period in which the workers were on strike, the teachers were on strike, should be deducted. So the court ruled that there is no basis, no right existing in the government through the Ministry of Education to deduct salaries for days on which the teachers would have been on strike. The court proceeded further to examine the question as to whether the deduction or refusal to remit dues to the teachers' union was justified. The court found that similarly that was also unconstitutional. So we have today a case where the workers' rights in this country has been enshrined in law and has been vindicated by the decision of this court. This is a significant and landmark decision. It has altered the understanding and interpretation as to what constitutes workers' rights. I believe this is a significant, I can't underscore it enough, a significant win for labor and workers in this country.
Justice Kissoon pointed to a letter sent by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education, Shaliza Autar, on February 6 to the union, where, according to the judge, a number of grave allegations of a criminal nature were made against the General Secretary of the GTU, Coretta MacDonald, and members of the union. That letter communicated to the union the immediate discontinuation of the remittances of union dues. The court found on the evidence that the Chief Education Officer, Saddam Hussein, was not full and frank with the court in deposing to the contents of the affidavit in defense, which cannot be acted upon or relied upon by the court. The judge pointed to the failure of the Chief Labor Officer to act in a manner consistent with the functions of his office. An important institution contributed to the strike action, as there is no evidence of any intervention at any stage during the period after the issuance of the strike action or during the prolonged strike to engage the parties, and this highlights a grave failure and omission for which the children of this nation made to endure and suffer. President of the Guyana Teachers Union, Mark Light, and his executives were all in smiles after the ruling. He said the ruling was a landmark one and set the parameters for other unions.
As you have seen over the last several years, we've had a lot of impositions, and the other unions are equally crying out for collective bargaining. So I believe that this ruling will give the voices of teachers, voices of the workers of Guyana, an opportunity to be heard. Well, like I said, this is a landmark ruling, and the teachers union in particular, having been out here for 29 days, we recognize that a lot was holding on this particular ruling today, and as such, this has given our teachers a renewed vigor to stand their ground.
The union was given a mandate by its membership to take further strike action if the government fails to engage the union in collective bargaining.
Washi. Hi people. Washing made so easy since I found Washi. Washing me use wash me clothes and I can say Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder leave me clothes smelling nice, of course. So give thanks to Washi soap powder for doing my laundry right. Keep my clothes color bright. Have my clothes smelling nice for sure. I could not ask for more. Comes in lemon and original. It is a washing machine in a pack. Washi soap powder wash clothes so nice. Washi soap powder leave your clothes color bright. Washi soap powder have my clothes smelling nice, of course.
Distributors located in the Stabrook Market.
It's here! Igloo Ice Cream Fruit Bars. 4 mouth-watering flavors. Mango, pineapple, strawberry, and soursop. A beautiful combination of real fruit and igloo ice cream. Go old school with fluty popsicle. Classic flavors and refreshing goodness. Available at Igloo outlets and all your favorite shops.
From the Army, I got to the police force, spent 5 years service. then take a break and join Sheriff Security. And so far the experience has been good and I'm enjoying it. I like my work, very dedicated and determined. Very nice company, have a lot of benefits. So I think Sheriff Security is one of the best so far for me, from my experience.
A 24-year-old minor of Quarries Village, South Rupununi, is in police custody over the killing of a Venezuelan national, identified only as Frankie. According to the police, the unfortunate incident occurred on Thursday in a camp where they work at Payaco Falls, located in the Puruni River. Reports are that the intoxicated suspect, identified as Kane Vincent, was asleep when the suspect hit him, causing him to wake from his slumber. An angry Vincent then armed himself with a knife and dealt Frankie several stabs. The man ran to his employer for help, where he succumbed to his injuries. The police were called in. At the scene, Frankie was found lying face down on a mattress. Upon examination of the body, ranks observed 4 stab wounds to his back, 2 to his upper back, and 1 to his midsection. Vincent was arrested while the alleged murder weapon was recovered at the scene. A post-mortem examination is to be carried out on Frankie's remains. For these and other stories, do visit us at our website www.rdproductiongy.com.